because let's bring in the voice of the Golden State Warriors, Tim Roye. It's been far too long since we talked to Tim Roye. I'm glad Tim Roye's back on the call, back with the Golden State Warriors as they're in L.A. getting a practice in today before they take on the L.A. Lakers tomorrow night at Crypto.com Arena. A pretty big game as they're tied with the Lakers in the 10th spot when it comes to losses. They're tied with the Lakers in the loss column, 2 games behind the Mavericks in the loss column after the Mavericks lost last night to OKC. So there's still hope for the Warriors to get to that 7-8 bracket in the play-in. Tim, good morning, man. It's been way too long since we talked.
It has been a long time, guys. Great to be back on. And yeah, you're right. The math now, you look at the math, and there's still hope for number 8. And the reason is they have 2 games against the Lakers starting with tomorrow night, and then 2 games left with Dallas as well. So if they can win those games or go 3-1 in those games, they still have an outside chance to move up to 8.
Tim, what is it about L.A., real quick, because I've just dawned on me here that the Warriors haven't won down at Crypto.com Arena against the Lakers since the season opener of that last championship season in 21-22. They haven't beat the Clippers for a while in that building either. What is it about Crypto.com Arena where the Warriors get down to L.A., they can't buy buckets, things happen down there? I don't know, man. It's like a house of horrors for the Golden State Warriors recently.
Yeah, it really has been, and I think part of the reason is they don't. The Lakers aren't their best matchup, right? They don't. They're just not. Historically they have not matched up against this Laker team as well as they have against other teams. And yeah, you're right. I think down here, I think there's a variety of factors. For whatever reason, the Warriors seem to never shoot well in this building. They never have like a lights out type game. Maybe they're due for one, but it has been a very difficult place to play. And now in recent years, one of the reasons why they've had trouble down here, yet you're playing LeBron James, Anthony Davis, or Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. Those are pretty good players. Mm-hmm. And, let's not forget that during the championship runs, the only player they had a losing record against was Kawhi. And so that's always kind of factored in. He's been the one guy they really never had an answer for.
I'm looking here at this team and where they're at right now, and they wouldn't even be close to where they're at without the ascension of Jonathan Kuminga. He's doubling essentially his minutes played, points per game. I mean, he's going to finish the season on such a high note. Why is this guy not getting any buzz for most improved player?
I don't know. I think he should, probably because he plays on a team with Steph Curry. That's probably why. But he's really I think understanding the game better than ever. There were a couple of drives in the Dallas game where his youthful ambition took over his ever increasing knowledge of the NBA game, where you take it right to Gafford, right, which is what Gafford wants you to do. He's not moving out from underneath the bucket there. So later in the game, he pulls up and hits a 15-footer. I said, okay, good, because that means he's realized the situation. You know what? This is better for me than trying to go over the top of that guy. And those kind of decisions, and making sure he's in the right spot defensively, which is a hard thing for young players to figure out, for the most part in this league. Those are the type of decisions that I, look for from him. We know he's athletic. We know he can score and slash to the rim and get buckets that way. But it's just making those decisions, I think, is really starting to elevate his game. And you're right. I think he should be getting more pub. But again, I think on a different team, and especially this year, too, when you look at this, there have been so many storylines around this Warrior team this year. I think it's hard for that one storyline to break out from all the others.
Chris Paul, Tez, we're talking to Tim Roye, of course, down in L.A. with the Warriors as they get ready to take on the Lakers tomorrow night. One of 2 matchups here over the last 17 games. What do you want to see from the Warriors in the final 17 games? Other than win, of course. We all want to see a win, and if they can win every game, Tim, that'd be good for all of us and head to the playoffs feeling good about themselves and on a hot streak here. But in terms of development, cohesion, what is the one thing you want to see in the last 17 games?
I'll be honest with you. One thing I want to see is I want to see them healthy. Yeah. I want to see them all on the floor and giving it their best shot. The crazy thing about the West this year, and now it's different because it's all, for the most part, the rest of the way it's West against West, East against East. The Warriors have a Knicks game coming up on Monday, right, but that's the outlier. You're talking about a 17-game stretch. The Warriors went 13-4 and barely moved up. Yep. It was 13-4. They're still in the number 10 spot.
Right.
That shows you how good the West has been the last couple of months and all year long. So I think I'd like them to get healthy and have everybody ready to go for the postseason, and I count the play-in as the postseason. And so, if they play well, they'll get their wins, and hopefully they move up a couple of spots. Getting to 8 would be huge, I think, for them. But again, it's going to be tough. I mean, right now, this is the thing that just blows me away. You look at the Western play-in bracket, and you have Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Steph, Clay, and Dre. That's insane. That's insane for a play-in bracket.
Adam Silver's happy, though. He's smiling from ear to ear.
Oh, yeah. He's loving this.
He'd be more happy if this was a first-round matchup. Let's be realistic here, folks.
Yeah, I hear you, man. But that's a loaded play-in field. Go ahead, Jack.
Look, it's too simplistic to say, CP3 has outplayed Jordan Poole, what he did last year or anything like that. But CP3 has been excellent this year. And I look at what he's done for the young players. You can't even quantify it in the box score. I mean, there's the assists and things like that. But his tutelage in timeouts, in dead ball situations, like you're watching all of this kind of play out on the road and at home. Explain to people how big of an impact Chris Paul has had on this team.
Well, it's a huge impact. First and foremost, what was the big story when they acquired Chris Paul all summer? Is he going to start? Is he going to come off the bench? And he comes off the bench. Did you hear even a sound? Not even a sound.
Not a peep.
He came off the bench, accepted the role, and has done whatever Steve has asked him to do, he's done. And so that's number one. So he didn't let. And all these guys have great egos. That helps them become great players. And so he buried that for the good of the team, and now he's taken on that, as you say, the mentor role. Look at Trace Jackson Davis. If Chris Paul, ignores him or, just says, come up and set a screen for me, then, Trace Jackson Davis isn't where he is right now. Instead, he says, look, you dive the basket, I'm going to get you the ball. He says, you need to come and do this and screen, and we're gonna have some fun this way. And so he gets Trace Jackson Davis kind of involved earlier than maybe most situations would have allowed him to. And so that kind of thing, talking to players about positioning, talking to Podziemski, talking to Moody, talking to Kuminga, getting those guys thinking the game. And that's what Chris Paul is really good at. He's one of the, kind of like Draymond, they're basketball savants.
No doubt. Tim Roye, before we get you out of here, the youngsters. Look, our expectations for Brandon Podziemski and Trace Jackson Davis, you just brought them up. I didn't know what to expect from them. I thought maybe a lot of Santa Cruz time, limited minutes here with the big team, but boy, they become key figures for this team here. Brandon Podziemski, we know what he's done, filling up the stat sheet, whether he's starting or coming off the bench, and the week Trace Jackson Davis has had, blocking Giannis twice on one possession. We played your highlight over and over when he came down on the other side and caught an alley-oop from Steph Curry. Of course, when he basically posterized Wemby. What was your expectations for these two players coming into the season?
Kind of like yours, I thought, but there was something about, let me get this right here, earlier in the season, the Warriors went on a road trip, and they sent Podziemski and Jackson Davis to Santa Cruz. And Draymond said, no, we don't want those guys in Santa Cruz. We need them here, if you remember.
Yeah, I do remember
these
that.
Guys here. And that I sat back and thought about that for a minute. Draymond doesn't do that unless he believes those guys can play, right? He's not just doing that to be a good teammate. He understands the role that Santa Cruz has for this franchise, and he understands that young players need time down there. So for him to say that early in the season, I said, okay, I got to really look at these guys and look at and try to find out what Draymond sees. And then it became self-evident, pretty much after that. But that to me was the indication that the Warriors had a couple of good young rookies there when Draymond, made that kind of plea to say, no, we need these guys.
Oh, Tim Roye, so good to hear your voice, man. And hopefully they could get a win down in L.A. I think the last time they won in that building in a game that mattered was November 28th, 2021, when they beat the Clippers by 15. So they got to get a win in that building. Heck, they got to get a win just to get back on track here and have a winning road trip. So it should be a lot of fun tomorrow night in L.A., and we'll see you when you get back here to the Bay Area when they take on the New York Knicks Monday night. Tim, thanks for the time as always. Always great hearing your voice.
Yeah, it's going to be fun tomorrow night. It's going to be a big game.
Absolutely. Tim Roye, the voice of the Golden State Warriors right here on 95.7 The Game, long-time radio announcer, play-by-play voice of the Golden State Warriors.